Dragon's Dogma 2 is a poster child for open world game design done right. While the game has been met with controversy, and this video is also gonna get there later, none of it takes away from its main accomplishment. Which is that, compared to other games of this kind, the open world isn't just a facade, but a core part of its gameplay DNA. Something that has taken a back seat in the genre, where things like combat and story became more and more prevalent as the main selling points, making some open world games feel formulaic and leaving lots of untapped potential behind, while Dragon's Dogma 2 does not feel like the competition at all. Being chased off your path by a dragon, conquering a cliff in the face of falling rocks, getting lost in a storm where a minotaur might wait for an ambush, and a chimera right after, navigating through a pitch black night afterwards, trying to find a safe spot on the horizon, maybe falling into a griffin's nest or a maze by accident. Now that's a journey that couldn't be replicated this intensively in a large chunk of competing open world games. And here are the reasons for that. First off, Dragon's Dogma falls in line with titles like Elden Ring or Zelda, where the world itself dictates your ways, not map markers or glowing breadcrumbs. The horizon beyond the main path is full of vantage points which naturally incite curiosity. If it isn't suspicious ruins, cliffs or caves which capture your interest, then it's the picturesque scenery throughout the entire map that simply screams to be explored. It's hard for me to describe how much I dislike vanilla fantasy backdrops like this. And here you also get a rather low-key story and the most generic quest plots you could think of, which makes it a true testament to Dragon's Dogma 2's visual identity, as it never stopped captivating my desire to explore its rich mountainscape. There are some weird story elements, like how the always changing party consists of people who are slaves and happy about it.
Rest assured, Master. You'll hear nary an idle word from me.
And how water is a deadly monster. It seems that these were gameplay elements first, context came later. Now, while a more intense story would have elevated the game even further, ultimately, this focus on game feel is usually a right move. And part of that is also vertical map design. Dragon's Dogma 2 does show you more or less concrete quest locations on the map. The difference compared to some other open world games is that no straight lines lead to each destination. In worse role-playing games, you can sit back, hold the stick towards the marker for a couple of minutes and reach your goal, no problem. The terrain in Dragon's Dogma is not that. Players need to figure out how to traverse these canyons. And while there are main paths, there's no shortage of distractions or alternative ways, especially because the map is not copy-pasted. Despite its big size, it feels handcrafted. There's no unlimited climbing like in Zelda, but still lots of hidden paths and collectibles found by investigating unique spots or trying to climb tricky platforms. Yet there's still a random factor that can provide the right amount of surprises, like a griffin attacking at the worst times or whatever happened here. Lastly, it's the lack of restrictions that make Dragon's Dogma 2 feel open. From the moment you reach the first big city, you're free to explore the entire map and start questing anywhere. By the time I fully delved into the main quest, I had already unlocked most mechanics and set up a decent transportation network across the map. Conversely, you could miss or just ignore lots of prominent content if that's your style, and finish the game at a refreshing 20 to 30 hours. And this freedom is meaningful because it comes at cost. In theory, mandatory NPCs can die, or you could throw away key items. You will not receive a typical mission failed screen and have to deal with the consequences yourself. Also, the fast travel is limited, so you have to be resourceful with the travel material at your disposal. The game isn't that hard, and there's more than enough warp stones and revival items. But these limitations enhance the feeling of being in nowhere land, especially early on by putting extra pressure on traveling into these uncharted lands unprepared. Conversely, items such as warp stones become satisfying rewards while exploring. It's not like you'll ever be truly lost, but hint mechanics such as oracles still are part of the world. If the game instead guided you through each step with GPS points, player agency would be diminished greatly. At this point I might as well address the biggest source of backlash against the game, the microtransactions on the store pages, which also contain teleport material. The publisher Capcom is known, despite making great core games, to nickel and dime. From splitting up ROM collections to turning old Resident Evil modes into paid DLC, which isn't even printed on full edition discs anymore. But the microtransactions in Dragon's Dogma 2 do not compromise the game. They are literally invisible. They are never advertised in-game. If it wasn't for internet discourse, you wouldn't even know they existed just by playing the game. Actively seeking them out is like paying money for cheats. But the game itself was not balanced around it. Period. Anyway, it's ironic that Dragon's Dogma 2 came out on the same day as Rise of the Ronin, a much more conventional samurai open world game by Team Ninja. When it comes to combat, it's more complex and can be more satisfying than Dragon's Dogma 2. But Team Ninja combat was fine as it was in the more linear and more focused Nioh games. Giving it an open map didn't enhance the action, except that the same encounters from before are now drawn out through a kind of meaningless flat lands, sometimes traversable with a glider, which would have also been possible in a non-open game. It's a novelty, but doesn't do anything fundamental with the open world. Games such as this or Assassin's Creed sometimes offer the option to turn off the markers and hints, but then they might not work anymore, because they were often not designed to be quote-unquote explored without handholding. Which is why for games like Dragon's Dogma, despite some surface level flaws, like janky AI or a low level of enemy types for such a combat focused game, it takes lots of craftsmanship to make a game world work on its own like this.